Yo. Appreciate y'all jumping back on here with a Koye Knows Boxing, man. I see Blast Music 247. You first up in here. Let's go. I- I'll let a few more of y'all join up and then we'll start the conversation, man. I'm coming off of a real mean week, man. When I say mean, I mean mean in a good way, man. It's been a good week. Last weekend I called both fights. I called all the fights really, but I called both the Benavidez and the Norman and Haney fight. I called both of those accurately. On Shout out to YSM Sports. That's one of our homie channels or whatever. But I called it on that channel if you guys want to look at the prediction. But I called those fights accurately. Then the next day, the Cowboys beat the Eagles, which is crazy for me. And then 4 days later on Thanksgiving, they beat the Chiefs. So I'm coming off of one of the, and then the Eagles lose right after that on Friday. You know what I'm saying, to the Chicago Bears. So I'm coming off of one of the more lucky or fortunate weeks I've had this year. So I'm having a good time, man. I hope y'all having a good time. Zach Luna, what up? He said Okoye be knowing what's happening, brother. What up with you, man? What up with you? I got a special guest. He's really not a guest. He's always here. You guys just never hear him. But Steph, introduce yourself, Steph. Steph is the producer. He's always in the background. He always in my ear telling me you said that wrong or you did this right or say this next type thing. You know what I mean? So he gonna join the conversation today, so you'll see me pulling him in. But I don't want you guys to be surprised by the voice when you hear it. So Steph, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Yo, what's going on, Nicole? Appreciate the introduction. Your boy Steph. Um, big boxing fan, and coincidentally, I'm a big Cowboys fan too. So me and Nicole, we align well when it comes to boxing and football. Just like Okoye is feeling right, I'm feeling right too. The Cowboys get a win, 2 wins in 4 days, and the Eagles get 2 losses in 4 days. Or in 5 days. Life is good right now. I can't complain, and we got plenty of to talk about today.
Nothing, man. But yeah, without further ado, we'll get right into it. As you guys know, last weekend we had a star-studded, I guess main event filled uh, night of boxing, right? And shout out to those guys at Riyadh Season, Turkey Al Sheik, and the Zone, and all that. It was a fun night of boxing. And I think all the fights on that card were interesting. Bam Rodriguez, he does some things in there that you don't really see Mexican fighters pulling off, right? And number one, you don't see too many southpaw Mexican fighters. That's one. But two, the angles that he was taking towards, going towards that knockdown or knockout was just crazy. Like he nasty with it, and he was putting Buddy to work. But I expect that of him. People start talking about the pound for pound conversation when it comes to him and how great I think he is and so on. But I think he got some more time before I can make that determination for me anyway. But I do like what I see from Bam. So shout out to Bam. Um, Before we get into like the main events, I know Abdullah Mason had a hell of a fight with Sam Noakes. And I mean, shout out to the youngin for showing that he had heart. I wouldn't want to see him in another fight like that because I looked at it like he underperformed personally. A lot of people don't want me to say this because he's a young guy, and and we all have our growing pains. I'm not hating on him when I say that I think he underperformed, but in a fight, especially in this business where one punch can end your life or one punch can land you in a wheelchair for life, so to speak, you don't take punishment that you don't have to take. And watching that fight, when I watched him versus Sam Noakes, I felt like Abdullah Mason could have controlled distance a lot better and could have exchanged less and still won the fight. And probably would have dominated more not trying to fight. Sometimes fighting works against you. And this is just this is not new. It's not like he's not amongst the legends with that, right? Because we watched this with Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran. The first fight, Sugar Ray Leonard tried to fight Roberto Duran, and it worked against him because it became a fight when really he could have controlled distance, as you saw in the rematch, and made it a wash, right? But he wanted to fight, and it's the same thing we saw with Abdullah Mason. He wanted to fight Sam Noakes, and it made for a very entertaining fight, but I think took way too much damage than necessary, and he made it so that other guys who punch probably a little bit better than Noakes. Noakes can punch, but he made it look like, hey, some guys are looking at Abdullah Mason right now saying, hey, if I land some of those same shots that he was letting Noakes hit him with repeatedly, maybe I can get him out of here. So he just made himself attractive to everybody at 135 or 140 with that performance. But he did show that, in the end, he could pull it out. He got heart. He could do his thing. So hats go off to the young man. Hats go off to him. But don't take no punishment like that no more, young. That's what I would tell him. Zach Luna says, Okoye, you just wish the Cowboys didn't drop one against the Cardinals or the Panthers. But in any case, the Cowboys team can really beat anyone right now. We really got a shot. Yeah, on some Cowboys news, as you already know, if they went out, I think, Eagles lose 2 more games and we went out, we can win the division. If we don't, I'm not even mad however this season plays out. I just know they don't want us in the tournament. I can tell you that. They don't want us in the tournament. He said, I feel even better about this team than 2023 team because 2023 fell apart against winning teams. This team has way more grit and more heart. That's a fact. We're winning games now that we normally don't. So shout out to the Cowboys, but let's stick to boxing on this one because that's what we on. But Steph, I'm sorry. Well, what are your thoughts on the Abdullah Mason fight? Did you watch it or did you, what was your takeaway from it?
My takeaway from the fight was, like you said, just don't take unnecessary punches you don't gotta take. I think he dominated. I think he's an up and coming star. He's 20-0, 17 KOs, and he's calling out the big names. Keyshawn Davis and Shakur and Tank. So I like it. He wants that smoke, man. I think he's a very good prospect in the sport right now. He's up and coming.
No doubt whatsoever. Abdullah Mason is, I think someone said Devon or Devo said he's the future of boxing. I think he's going to be one of those names that's going to be around for a long time, especially if he can, like I said, clean it up a little bit and learn that you don't got to be a dog in every fight, man. He said he's ready for Schofields, but he's not ready for Shakur. I would say he could. All of those guys at that level, in my opinion, are all waiting to ascend, so to speak. I think the only one that I can say outclasses the other due to his power and his boxing IQ that I've seen put to the test in the strength of competition is Gervonta. Gervonta Davis is like here if he wants to box. And then you got Shakur and everybody else. Shakur, talent-wise, is up there with Gervonta, but as far as the prove-it fights against guys who I think can get him out of here and those types of guys, I want to see it. I want to see Shakur in a fight where I feel like he was in danger and he actually dominated, right? I thought he had the opportunity in that De Los Santos fight, but, he did what he had to do to pull a win out, but it wasn't what we wanted from to see, like, yo, this is what we think he is. You know what I'm saying? That confirmation fight. So it's not like a doubt with Shakur. I just think Shakur is sort of like Boots. They're waiting for those fights that kind of transcend the normalcy and puts them in a different stratosphere so that they can ascend. You know what I mean? So they're waiting for those types of fights, both of them. You know what I mean? But I do think that Abdullah Mason and Shakur down the line would be a good fight. He's a good fight for anybody. His length and his aggression, he got good pop. He got everything you would ask for. So I would think that would be a good fight. But all of those guys are 50-50 to me. They're all equal because a lot of them got the same flaws minus Shakur. Shakur knows how to judge distance. His defense is a little bit better. He doesn't get hit as much. But when you watch Keyshawn Davis, when you watch Abdullah Mason, so on, these guys, they're letting guys hit them at this level that are lower level fighters. And whenever I see that, I say, okay, well, those guys haven't hit you with the right punch to get you out of here or to damage you. But at the top level, could you let Gervonta, like, think about this? Could a Abdullah Mason or even a Keyshawn let a Gervonta Davis hit them clean the way they're letting guys who are at the lower levels hit them clean? Impossible. They would be done. So that's what I want to see cleaned up. Like, they got the natural talent, but they have to be a lot more sound defensively and a lot more responsible in order for me to say that they're ready for that top notch, right? But good division. But moving forward to the Norman and Haney fight, man. I called it on YSM Sports, man. I said that Haney does well against guys who are flat-footed, explosive fighters that remind you of a Regis Prograde type of guy. And everybody in the comments on that channel, they jumped down my throat, pause, but they came at me crazy. You know what I mean? They said I was comparing him to pro grade. Norman is a whole different level. Then when I said that he's another Spence type of fighter, everybody thought I was disrespecting Spence. And what I'm saying when I say that these guys are similar, I mean flat-footed, explosive fighters, not their accolades, not how well they fight flat-footed. Some of them are better than others flat-footed and being explosive, but their style is still a flat-footed, explosive, straightforward pressure fighter. That's how all those guys fight, right? Just some are better than others at it, but that's what they do. So it wasn't any disrespect towards Spence, Norman, nor Prograde by making those comparisons between the three. It's just that they have that style, and that style for a pure boxer like Haney, who stays behind his jab, it's not really difficult for him, right? He can. I've seen that with the Prograde fight. Like I said, that he can definitely move all night. He can stay behind that jab all night, right? And his team did a great job of reverse engineering what they thought Norman would try to do, because I think that Norman's team, they worked against him because in the build up for the fight, you have his dad and those guys talking about, hey, you don't want to exchange with my son. They kept saying it, kept saying it, kept saying it. So when you say, hey, don't exchange, right, it's letting me know that's what you want me to do. You want to challenge me to exchange with you. So that means that's where you plan, or that's where you think you're strong, and that's where you think your strategy will prevail, right? So that means we need to have a game plan for that, because I know that's how you're coming into the fight, because you keep stressing that I shouldn't exchange with you, right? So I think that tilted Haney's team to understand, hey, this is what they're looking for, you know. And then also they kept talking about his jab. Well, you saw in the first round, Haney didn't throw anything at all, no jab, no nothing. He didn't want to give him anything to counter because he knew, based off reverse engineering and scouting himself, that anybody who watches Haney knows that if you can counter the jab effectively, you can catch the jab effectively, and you got to answer for the jab, you can work off of his jab and hurt him, just like Ryan Garcia did, right? So you notice he didn't even try the jab in the first round. He made Norman kind of docile, because you can tell Norman was waiting for those looks that his dad told him he would get, the exchanges that he didn't get, and the jabs that he didn't get initially. That threw his entire game plan off. And then in the exchange, he got caught. Now, you want to take somebody's steam out of their game plan and faith out of their trainer, catch them doing something that they were told would be their bread and butter, meaning it's been drilled into him by his dad all training camp. As soon as we exchanged with the guy, he was even saying it in the corner, still the rest of the fight, because you could tell that's what they thought would happen. He said, they don't want to exchange with you. He's scared, son. He can't exchange with you. Right. But his son looking at him crazy, because in the second round, Dad, hey, I exchanged with him and he dropped me. I almost lost the fight exchanging with this guy. And you told me that he can exchange with me, but he's winning the exchanges. So that the confidence in what you're saying and the confidence in what his father was saying, you could tell he lost that right after the second round. It was I know I'm alone. That's how Norman felt. I know I'm alone. I know that my corner doesn't have anything for me, because everything that they did tell me I would be great at, I'm losing at in this fight. From the infighting to the jab to the exchanges, he lost everything that he thought he would benefit or dominate at. And so he was not only dejected physically, but mentally, Haney beat him too. So hats go off to Haney for that fight. But I feel like he took his foot off the gas, and he could have knocked and should have knocked Norman out. But him coasting to the victory, I can't hate on. I just wanted to see him turn it up just for a round. He didn't have to do it for the entirety of the second half of the fight, but just try to get him out of here one of those rounds. You know what I mean? And Norman's adjustment by throwing two ones. He kept on throwing 2 1s, which is a straight right hand and a like a shovel jab rather than a hook off of that, and that started catching Haney coming in. So maybe he stung Haney. I think he did in the 7th round. But maybe he stung him in a way where, I'm not taking the punches. So maybe he hit him in a way where Haney just said, look, man, I'm just going to go ahead and take the win and not risk nothing, man. And I respect that, because those are the things I say Abdullah Mason currently is not doing. Keyshawn Davis currently is not doing. And, they're not taking those opportunities to just dominate and get out there with the win without taking damage. But Haney did that. So hats go off to him. Great performance. You got a lot of opportunities next at the 147 division. I think, except for Conor Benn, because Conor Benn and Hearns, I think they want to ride that that nostalgic feeling of beating Eubanks a little bit longer. They don't want to give up an L right now because they said they started talking like they were trying to get away from that fight, like they don't want to fight Haney because they keep saying Haney's going to run. It's not the running that's the problem. It's the fact that they know there's not going to be much there to hit, and he's going to hit you. So nobody wants to fight that, right? Not right now. And I respect that. Get your money, do what you got to do, build up a bigger fight where y'all have no choice but to fight later on and make more money. So do your thing. But hats go off to all those guys, man. All those guys. Outside of that, like Steph, anything that you observed in that Haney fight that you want to add to the equation or no?
Yeah, like one thing I want to add, man, he landed at 182 jabs.
Damn.
182 jabs in a 12-round fight. I mean, that's a killer. Boxers say it best. A left hook can take you around the block, but a jab can take you around the world. And Devin Haney, he just turned Norman into a clincher. I mean, that's really what he did. He broke him down and he broke his spirit by round 8. He set the tone at round 2 when he knocked him down, and then by round 8, he took his spirit. And Norman had no answers for the movement and for the ring IQ. And shout out to Haney. I've been kind of a hater of Haney in the past, but man, is he a problem. I mean, he is really a problem. It's always the chin that I've always been suspect of, but the IQ, the pedigree, it's there. The guy is a problem.
You know what's funny to me, man, and I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people talk about chins, right? And I think that the misnomer is that a person with a chin doesn't get hurt. It's not the fact that you don't get hurt. That's not what makes you have a chin, in my opinion. It's the fact that you can withstand what was given and you can keep coming, right? And for me, watching, like, nobody would say Floyd Mayweather doesn't have a chin, but they'll say Haney doesn't have a chin, right? Right? They'll say Floyd Mayweather has a chin, but they'll say Haney doesn't. But we've watched Floyd almost drop versus Shane Mosley, right?
Right.
He was getting fucked up. And we've seen Maidana catch Floyd with some shots like Linares caught Haney with.
Right.
Maidana caught Floyd with a very similar shot, a right hand counter at the end of a round that looked like it knocked Floyd's teeth right out, right? And Floyd went back to the ring a little dizzy, just like Haney did. But they say Haney doesn't have a chin, and Floyd does. When you saw Ryan Garcia rock Haney, drop him, just get him, you know what I'm saying? They say that Haney doesn't have a chin. But when you watch Shane Mosley almost dismantle Floyd, they don't say that, right? So I look at Haney as having a pretty good chin from being able to withstand and recover from some of those shots, especially the ones when Ryan Garcia was hitting them. Those were real shots. And those are shots that Ryan Garcia has put people in the hospital with. And Haney withstood that for 12 rounds when he didn't have to. Nobody would have blamed him if he wouldn't have got up after that first one, and he fought through all of it with what looked like a broken jaw. So I never gave him the knock for not having a chin. I look at that as a chin. The lack of a chin comes when you just can't, anything knocks you out or knocks you down or knocks you out. Haney hasn't been in that situation where I can see, and then Ryan Garcia was much bigger too, but Haney hasn't been in a situation where I could say, his chin was in question, in my opinion. Not for me.
And for the audience, I think that in all my experience in boxing, there is no such thing as an iron chin. In my personal experience, in my personal opinion, there is no such thing as an iron chin. Right. To me, it's more about, do you see the punch coming? If you can see the punch coming with your eyes, if you can catch the punch coming, you can take it because you can prepare yourself. But it's the punch you don't see that knocks you out, and that's the thing that people don't understand. Haney couldn't see Ryan's left hooks; he just couldn't catch them.
Right.
And Amir Khan, I see a KOG Duval is Amir Khan's example of fighter with no chin. No, Amir Khan personally just didn't see the punches coming. When Danny Garcia hit Amir Khan, he didn't see that punch coming.
But Amir Khan, I give him that example because it's like a guy. I'll give him that example because I'll say this: Amir Khan is one of those guys where, even if he doesn't see the punch coming, he is better than a lot of fighters in many ways. He's faster, he's quicker, good jab. He's going to run up points on you, all that. But when you fight Amir Khan, that if you just, if you can just keep throwing the right types of shots and you can land the right shots on him throughout the fight, you can get him out of here, even though you might lose every round on points. You can knock him out. You know what I'm saying? You know that.
Amir Khan's also reckless when he fights. He gets a little reckless. He gets excited, and that's where the punch does it. As the punch comes, because he's fast. That's it. He's a
Oh,
he
that's
punches in bunches, right? And I feel like that's when he gets a little reckless. Like in the Canelo fight, he was controlling the fight pretty early, and he saw the punch. He didn't see the punch coming,
yeah. I
and
mean,
I.
I agree, but it's just like you can get it. It's like you know that you can get to that
Oh
punch.
yeah, American coming with it.
It's
Yeah.
like another Roy Jones after he came down from heavyweight. It's like his punch resistance wasn't there. That's what I consider no chin. Whereas like
Okay.
like Lubin right now, Lubin the way he lost to Ortiz, he doesn't
Right.
have punch resistance anymore. It's like you can hit him whether he's blocking or not. He can see the shots coming. It doesn't matter. His punch resistance just isn't there. You can get him out of here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I look at as having no chin. Having a questionable chin, you can say now if you said Devin Haney's chin is questionable, it is questionable because we got to see him take punches from other guys. But I don't look at the Ryan Garcia fight solely as a fight that would tell me he doesn't have one. So I think that's the mistake that people making though, because we repackage things the way we want to right now based off of who we like or who has the best fanfare. So we'll say this guy is better than this guy because he's more popular, right? So we look at Haney now as like he's a guy that's not having the chin, and we got a guy like Norman and these other guys that we think are better because we like their charisma or we think they hit hard or we watch them against a stationary fighter and don't understand what we're looking at. But those types of things set guys like Norman up for ass whooping because you think that you're looking at a lame duck and he fresh, he ready. You know what I mean? So shots go out. Shout out to Haney and his team for the way they put that game plan together. Mickey Bay was one of the trainers in the corner, and his dad, of course, was giving him strategy. So their whole team, top down, did an excellent job preparing him for this fight, and it looked like they had they had his number the entire night. So hats go off to Norman too, but a lot of people saying he's coming back or he'll have a better career, and I beg to differ because when I watched him against Santiel, the reason I thought that Haney could knock him out because I knew that Haney was a sharper, crisper puncher than Santiel, and Santiel was hitting Norman whenever he wanted to. He hit him with 5, 6 punch combinations. It was a great fight, but it reminded me of what we just saw with Abdullah Mason. When you have a guy that's lesser, that I think is a lesser athlete like Santiel or like a Sam Noakes, and those guys can hit you at will. When you're fighting a quick twitch athlete that hits better or that's a sharper puncher or a bigger puncher, you're not going to take those shots at the top level. And I look at Haney the same way. Norman the same way. When Norman was taking those shots against Santiel, I said, if he does these same things against Haney, it's over. And the fights after that, he was knocking guys out so quick you didn't see if he corrected the problem. So I said, if he still comes into this Haney fight not moving his head, he's going to be in trouble. And then Haney in that fight he didn't move his head. And if he still fights this way throughout the rest of his career, like fighting on a straight line, pulling straight out after combinations, committing to too many punches prior to landing the first, that's a big problem boxers have too. But he commits to too many shots and he's still right there in front of you when he's doing it. And what I mean by that is some guys will punch, they'll touch you, right? Like Floyd will touch you. If you watch Floyd might hit you with a 3-punch combination, but it's never like boom. It's like pop, touch you, pop, touch you, pop. You know what I'm saying? He's taking a picture in between shots to see what's coming back and stay defensively sound. Abdullah Mason, what he had a problem with, and what Norman has a problem with is some fighters, because of the way they drill, they automatically go into their second or third shot. They've committed to 3 or 4 punches before they threw the first one. So if you already have a pattern ready for that and you're countering in between those punches or you're intercepting those shots, you have a better chance because they've already fully committed to the combination. Meaning when they go through a 1-2, by the time they throw the 1, the 2 is already coming. So if you counter it, they're getting caught in between that shot automatically because they're not taking the time to take a picture in between the shots. So it's not a pop and then see what's coming, then counter your counter. Is I'm just going right at you. If I'm throwing a 1, 2, 3, is I already threw all 3. You know what I'm saying? If you pay attention to what I'm saying and you watch Abdullah Mason's fight, that's what he was doing against Noakes. That's what Norman does regularly. So they can get caught clean in between shots, and they're making your counter even more powerful because they're coming forward full-fledged with their offense. It's the same reason I think Ortiz will have trouble against Boots because he does this. But when you see guys that throw Gatling gun combinations minus one guy, it's only one guy that does it in a way where it's like, I don't know how he doesn't get in trouble for it ever, but he does. And it's like, it behooves you to not try to exchange with him, and that's Benavidez. And we'll get to that fight in a second. But Benavidez throws these Gatling gun combinations where it's like, don't try to punch in between his shots. Don't exchange with him, right? You just gotta keep him from cornering you, so because he will only unleash those when he corners you. So you don't exchange with him. But everyone else, it's like you got an opportunity in between their shots to land shots if because they've already chain linked their combination. They know what's coming. They're throwing, they're thinking up a 5-punch combination on you, or their instincts are calling for one, and you can intercept that and exchange with them in between those shots. And that's where you have success against both those types of guys. Dula Mason, Keyshawn Davis, Norman, they all have this issue, and they need to rectify that. You know what I mean? Be a lot more judicious with their punches. He said, do you believe that B&J need another eye in his camp? I believe that could help. No, I think he needs another eye in his marketing team, though, because Brian Norman is a good fighter, but picking Haney as an opponent at this stage in the game was a mistake. I would have avoided Haney and made some more money fighting other people because he has the charisma. And people, and if you put guys in front of Norman that are just going to be right there for him to hit, Norman's good. Like, he's good as a pressure fighter. But putting him against a pure boxer with a good jab that can move, that was a mistake. And I think, like I said, the idea and the thing that they sold everybody on Haney not having a chin, or Haney not being tough, or Haney not being able to punch, when you sell somebody on someone else's deficiencies and they're not real deficiencies, you got a problem. And that's what they did wrong. I don't think the trainer is a problem per se. He doesn't move his head. He needs somebody that can get him to move his head. But I think their game plan in regards to how to even match make is a problem for me. Because if I could see it, I'm a promoter. I do everything there is in boxing. So I promote, I train fighters, I fought. You know what I mean? I never fought professional or anything like that, but I've been boxing my entire life. So boxing is really in my blood. My whole family either play football, they hustle, or they fight. That's it. My whole family. So it's in my blood. But so I've seen everything in this game, but at the same time, if I can see it, I'm not at the pro level. I'm at the pro level, but I'm not the championship level, right? If I can tell you that when you sign the contract, you have a problem, but your camp doesn't know that, unless they just went for the money, then you have a problem in your camp. Because how would I know that you shouldn't fight Haney, but you don't know that, and your dad don't know that, and your team don't know that? How would they look at this fight and say, hey, we can beat this guy? And if they really believe that they could beat Haney, even bigger problem. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think that's where the issue is. It's in the matchmaking, not in his ability. Because if you match him correctly, he'll look great for a long time. You know what I mean? You got to get him against people, put him against people that are going to be right there in front of him for him to hit. Even if they're tough, it doesn't matter. He's good there. It's just because he's very tough. But without moving your head, you only got so many clean punches you can take. And eventually you break down, whether it's in the fight or over the span of your career. That's going to happen. It's going to happen. But, you know what I mean? Good points you made, especially KLG. I appreciate that, Devo. Good points y'all made. But like I said, I can't wait to see what Norman, Haney, and those guys do moving forward. I like the fact that Conor Bennett's coming down into the division. It makes it a lot more exciting. So let's look out for the 147 welterweight division and see what fights are made in the first half of 2026, because I think it's going to be an interesting year based off the way this one's wrapping up. But I appreciate y'all kind of like tuning in for that round. But we'll get into the Benavidez. I always say his name wrong. I say Benavidez, or I say Benavidez. You know what I mean? But we'll get into his fight versus Yarde. What I also another fight that I also called accurately, and it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't due to hate or anything like that. A lot of people thought that because Yarde was so large, pause, that he was going to hurt Benavidez, and I didn't think so, because I looked at the way he would have to do it. Early in a fight, Yarde is a front runner. So for those who don't know, a front runner is a fighter who is very, usually they're muscular guys, and that's usually why they're front runners. Or sometimes they're a guy who doesn't, his endurance just doesn't translate to the ring. So these guys are very good, very game fighters, vicious, top level. They're like an A+ fighter for 4 rounds, for 5 rounds, right? The rest of the fight, they're C+. You know what I'm saying? So because they drain. And if it sounds disrespectful when I say it, but because a lot of guys have fans, they're fans of certain fighters, and they'll think that I'm disrespecting these guys by saying it. But Yarde is a front runner. Zab Judah was a front runner. Um, Guys like Teofimo Lopez, front runner. I'll give you some more because it happens with a lot of them. They'll basically fade. Amir Khan's a front runner, but they'll fade over the span of the fight, and after they fade, it's a different ball game. So these are guys that come up very fast in the game, and the reason a front runner is so dangerous in the game, and even for a promoter, it's dangerous for me to invest in. And here's why: when a fighter starts off fighting, they fight in 4-round fights, 6-round fights, and 8-round fights. If you have a guy that's knocking guys out in the 4-round fights, I don't know if he's a front runner. I have no clue because he's knocking everybody out. If he's going 6 rounds or going 4 rounds and going the distance and just dominating for 4 rounds, I still don't know if he's a front runner because the fight's not that long. You know what I'm saying? When we get to the 8-round fight, okay, the competition went up. So yeah, he might get a little more tired in that fight, but that doesn't tell me he's a front runner. It just lets me know, he had a tougher fight. I don't know until I get to the 10-round plus fights, the championship rounds, what I really have, and if I have a front runner. You have no clue. So that's why they're so dangerous to a promoter, but they're also dangerous to another fighter. Meaning, if you don't have a game plan, you don't understand, and you're not thinking about taking this guy into deep waters and drowning him, meaning making him work early in the fight and tiring him out, then you might have a game plan where you go in like Zab Judah did against Costazu, and you go in and you just try to fight and you get hurt early. That's what you don't want to do against a front runner. You don't want to go in and exchange and fight early because that's when they're fresh, that's when they're game, that's when they're good. You want to let them wear themselves down. If you look at what Benavidez was doing to Yarde, that's exactly what he did. He was just standing in front of him. He's just walking him down, letting Yarde throw, punches, but Yarde wasn't getting what he was supposed to get for the activity. Whenever you throw a punch, whenever you waste energy, even if you're a front runner, it's okay in only one condition. If you're going to waste your energy like Vegeta, if you watch Dragon Ball Z, if you're going to waste all your energy in the first second of the fight, you got to make it count, meaning you got to get damage for your energy output. And that's what I knew Yarde would not want to do with Benavidez. Whenever he would hit Benavidez, it would be an arm punch or some flick jab, something like that, where he's still moving a lot of nervous energy while Benavidez is just walking you down calm, not wasting anything. You're wasting all your energy. Gervonta Davis, what he did to Frank Martin, same thing, front running energy. Like, I'm gonna let you throw your punches, let you shoot your load, let you tire yourself out. And when I see you start, trying to get your second win, that's when I'm gonna turn up on you and I'm gonna drown you. You know what I'm saying? So Benavidez was thinking the same way against Yarde, and Yarde went too many rounds moving around, trying to throw punches and look like Floyd, but not landing anything that would make Benavidez respect him until the 4th round. I think in the 4th round, he hit him with a straight right hand. Like, if you guys go back to the fight, go to the beginning of the 4th round. The very first punch that Yarde landed was a counter straight right hand. So he threw a quick right hand over Benavidez's jab, and he hurt him because Benavidez instantly started moving backwards and start fighting off his back foot. If you see Benavidez, people think I'm wrong about saying he hurt. They don't understand what they're looking at. If Benavidez is backing up and trying to fight like a slick boxer, he's hurting. That's the only way he would do it. Other than that, he's coming after you. So Benavidez, at the beginning of that 4th round, he went all the way back to the ropes, high guard, leaning over the top of the ropes, and it took him a couple seconds to kind of clear the cobwebs out, and then he came on with with vengeance, and I think still won that round too. But he definitely hurt him early in that round. But what Yarde should have been doing in the fight was the thing he did in the beginning of the 4th round, meaning make Benavidez understand really fast and early, you're in here with a larger light heavyweight, and this ain't your division. And I'm talking about leaning on you, punching you in the hips, punching you in the shoulders, elbows, everything. I need to make sure you understand that this is a big man's game. We up here, it's a different ball game, young boy. He didn't make it uncomfortable for Benavidez, which made him feel like, this is a fight that he can dominate. That would have been my game plan if I was Yarde's team. Not saying I'm better than anybody, but just watching what he looks like versus the way he fights. He looks like a anvil, like you don't want to deal with him, right? But he fights like a pure boxer, small guy. You know what I mean? And you shouldn't. He doesn't. His fighting style doesn't match his body's type. He should be more forward, pressure, explosive. You know, he should be doing that, imposing his will on people because you know you don't have the energy. So for a front runner, if you're able to hurt a guy early, then you can dictate and rest in the fight because you landed some punches that caused some damage early in that fight, and he didn't do that. So that was the problem. That was a problem. KLG Duval says that's Yard. I expected to see the front runner version. He went in there and tried to play pity pat with a killer. That's exactly what he did. He's playing patty cakes with like you go ahead and throw them soft ass punches, and every time Benavidez came back with something, he was trying to kill that man. Kill that man. He said, but this is Mojo 11 said, do you think Benavidez can give Bivol his toughest fight? That's an interesting fight because that's a fight that I want to see due to the fact that when you ask the question, there's so many unknowns because it's so polarizing. And what I mean by that, you have the quintessential proverbial boxer, puncher in Bivol who can move, can do everything. He got the Russian style. You know what I mean? He doesn't get tired. He can fight from distance all night. You know what I mean? And he's like, if he goes out there and does that and makes it so that Benavidez can't corner him at all in that fight, even though Canelo cornered him a couple times, right? But if he can make it so that Benavidez can't corner him as effectively or as often as he would like, then I think that Bivol could definitely win every round where he's not back to the ropes, right? And he could hurt you. Whereas Benavidez is the, wall, the proverbial wall. Like he is a wall, a walking wall with lightweight, fast hands, lightning fast hands. He has hands that's like a lightweight speed, but has power, pop. But he's a wall when it comes to the way he fights, and he's just coming forward, right? So those two styles are total opposites, right? And it's about who goes in there and imposes their will, who catches somebody early, who's doing the best film work, who has the best camp, what drills did I have in my camp that prepared me for what you might bring, and vice versa. So that's a true 50-50 fight, in my opinion. And it's not 50-50, maybe not in the ring, maybe the night of, one of them imposes their will and gets the other one out of here faster than I thought, right? But that just means his preparation was different and better, and that's what it was. But I have no clue as to how that fight will play out. Like, I really don't. I think that I could tell you what both teams, like I just told you, what they're going to be trying to do to each other. But who imposes their will and executes it properly, I don't know. That's why I'm interested in that fight. So I guess from the answer I gave, I would say, yeah, probably gives him his toughest fight, or it's at least the toughest to envision pre-fight. It might be an easy fight for him. You never know. We thought Canelo would give him his toughest fight, right? But pre-fight, you don't know who will come out and impose their will accurately or dominantly. So that's an interesting fight to see. I want to see. They say that he's trying to go up to fight this cruiserweight guy. I think he should stay at light heavyweight because Benavidez looked pretty small to Yarde. You don't want to go up from that because you're not even a big light heavyweight. He's really a blown up super middleweight. That's what he is, and that's where he should stay. But if you're gonna fight, if you're gonna, campaign at another weight, it should be light heavyweight. I don't think he should go to. Light heavyweight. I don't think he should go to cruiserweight. But crazier things have happened, man. Steph, what about these the Benavidez fight? I guess interest you, and then what fights are coming down the line that you think would be interesting moving forward before we get out of here?
Well, first things first, talking about Benavidez and the Yarde fight, and like you said, it was a somebody said here, it was pity patting with Benavidez, who has bad intentions. The guy wants to break you down, wants to break you down, break your spirit, and he wants to just, if he could, he'd probably want to kill you in the ring. He's got that mentality. He's an assassin, so. Like you said, Okoye, and you hit it. He's a light heavyweight with lightweight hands.
Right.
So it's a mismatch for a lot of bigger fighters, bigger boxers. Excuse me. Yeah, the ref. I mean, the ref saved Yarde in the 7th round. Said, "Yo, this is over, bro. You got no chance in this fight."
Yeah.
But kind of moving over from that fight, it did go as I expected. Was Benavidez actually is going to fight Ramirez next at cruiserweight, which I think is very, very, very intriguing. And maybe I can get some of your input on that cruiserweight fight because he's gonna go up now another weight class. So Okoye, let me know, how does that fight go down, brother?
I mean, when you again, this is my issue, right? And I train my guys like this, right? And I'm saying this for a reason, so stay with me. You see how we said that he was pity patting, Yarde was, right? He's fighting off the back foot while you have a guy that's walking you down right in front of you. I train my guys to punch through a wall. When I say punch through a wall, not a literal wall, I mean if your style is a high guard, walk to me style, we train so that if we're hitting you, we don't care if you're blocking, we don't care if your hands are up. We throw full load shots at your gloves, regardless, at your shoulders, regardless, at your chest, regardless, right? And I train them to do that. I'll take a chest pad, I'll wrap it around a tree, and I'll tell my guys, they'll come with like light pads or just a hand wraps on, and they'll punch that pad and they'll punch the tree to the leaf shake. I call it tree talking. We talk to trees. And the reason I do it, I don't want them to hit the tree so hard that they're trying to hurt their hand or hurt the tree. I just want to hit it hard enough to learn to quickly in short space transfer your weight from the ground into your opponent. So while your leg is up, so when you're taking when you throw your right hand, instead of pivoting, some people pivot off the back foot, just slightly lift that foot up, because while your weight is up, you have to transfer that weight into your opponent, and you do it quickly, right? So you're walking into your punches, right? So I train our guys to do that, right? And I'm bringing this up for a reason, because when you fight a guy, when you want to see an example of what it looks like when you see a guy fight like that, watch Shane Mosley fight Margarito. Margarito was a wall. Shane Mosley was punching through his guard, didn't care. You know what I'm saying? When you watch Bernard Hopkins versus Winky Wright, right? Those types of fights where these guys are walls that are coming at you, but they're still taking crazy punishment. Or Julian Williams, J-Rock versus Jarrett Hurd. That's a wall that's coming at you. Why did they get broken down? And it's because they're fighting guys who punch through the target versus punching at the target. You got sharp punchers like a Crawford. They may not punch through your guard because they are sharp punchers, meaning they can hurt you, but they have to hurt you when they catch you in between shots or when they catch you clean. It's sharp, crisp punches, and that's why it hurts, like Sugar Ray Leonard style, right? Whereas you have Hagler, who can punch thuddingly through your guard, or Foreman can punch through your guard. That can be taught if you learn how to transfer your weight and step through your punches. Now, if your style is a wall style of defense where your job is to be bigger and more imposing, and you walk through punishment, and that's how you defend yourself, by walking through people's shots and smothering their work like Benavidez does, that works when you're fighting guys who are smaller than you or your natural size. When you go up in weight, these guys are naturally going to punch through that wall because they're bigger. You're not going to be able to just walk through their punishment. And Benavidez doesn't have any other style of defense. He doesn't move his head. His style is, I'm going to walk you down and I'm going to absorb and smother all your work while you waste energy so I can get you out of here. That's his style. He slowly but surely just stalks you with pressure, mental pressure, and he's right in front of you. You're throwing shots thinking that, he's not going to stop coming forward, right? Well, that might not work at cruiserweight at all. So that's why I say he should not go up and cruise to cruiserweight, in my opinion. I don't care who it is up there. Maybe you find the right guy, you find a pure boxer who wants to fight off the back foot, and you could get up there, you could steal a win. But I don't think cruiserweight is the division for him. So see what I'm saying? Just like Roy Jones and James Toney, they can go to heavyweight, but they got to fight certain people at heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? You can't just go up to heavyweight and be like, I'm gonna fight Mike Tyson. They couldn't went up to heavyweight and said, I'm gonna fight Foreman. None of that. You know what I'm saying? You can go up and take a choice opponent. You know what I mean? But yeah, I look at this fight the same way because of the way he fights. And when you have guys who know how to punch through the target, they ain't scared. They love guys like Boots. Boots has a similar style to what I'm talking about. He likes guys that are coming forward with pressure. Tough guys that take punishment and walk forward and walk you down. He likes those guys because he'll punch right through that. You're gonna punch right through it. And now you're just gonna make his punching power even more dominating or devastating because you're gonna be walking through shots that are already designed to punch through your resistance. You know what I mean? So I don't like the defensive style. I call it weight bullying usually. But I don't like that style where when I'm watching a guy and his only claim to fame is smothering your work or eating your shots to the point where you get tired. Hurd used to just eat shots. If you watch Hurd versus Lara hit Hurd with everything he wanted to hit him with. He just couldn't hurt him, right? Because he's a wall. That's a much bigger man walking at you and making you waste all your energy and dance and move. But he like the Terminator. He coming. And Benavidez is that at the lower weights. He's not that at light heavyweight. I know he's not because he couldn't really hurt Gavazic. And he'll hurt you if he can corner you and accumulate some punches. Yeah, but he doesn't have one punch knockout ability at light heavyweight. So his ability to walk you down at light heavyweight is different because if he tries that against Bivol, or if he tries that against Better Biev, he's gonna get hurt doing that against them. And that's at light heavyweight. So at cruiserweight, I don't think it gets better when you go up. I think that gets worse for you when you go up. So that's how I feel about it. But he might again. He here to prove me wrong and prove everybody else wrong. That's just my thoughts on it at the top of my head. It could go. He could be one of those guys. I'm not watching him in camp. Walk through cruiserweights. He might be walking through heavyweights and sparring right now, and they're like, well, he can do it. Maybe he can, but I don't think so. I would love it if I had a guy that was a light heavyweight that was trained under me for 2-3 years. I would love it if you're just gonna walk me down. You're gonna walk my guys down. Oh, I would love that because they're gonna hurt you doing it. I guarantee you that because of the way we train. You know what I mean? Old school training. So there's only a few trainers out there that think this way, that think you could teach power or that even train their fighters to be like real punchers, and you got to be intentional with that. You got to be intentional with that. But yeah, that's what I think, bro. You there, Steph? He disappeared.
I'm right here. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
There you go.
I'm right here.
But yeah, that's what I feel about that fight, man.
Yeah.
I feel that Benavidez is definitely biting off more than he can chew, in my opinion, by going up. If he's planning on staying at cruiserweight, I would say no. I would say no.
That Bivol fight, back at light heavyweight, man, it's a very intriguing fight, and you talked about it earlier. It's a fight that I would love to see. I would have rather seen that fight before the Ramirez fight. I think he just kind of sees that Ramirez is an easy opponent at cruiserweight, wants to collect the belt. Maybe he uses that as a leverage in negotiations with a Bivol.
Right.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. And like I said, I ain't here to stop your greatness. Stop your legacy. So hopefully Benavidez goes and does. He does it. He wins, and then, like you said, uses it as leverage for someone at light heavy. Though I don't think he should go up there and stay up there. That's my point.
I just will say that Bivol, he's got boxing pedigree, man. I mean, he's not a Yarde. He's got an excellent jab. He's comes from that Russian pedigree of Olympic style fighting. So those kind of fighters, styles make fights in boxing. Those kind of fighters do pose threats for Mexican style.
Right.
When you can move in and out of your punches, your jab.
Right.
You can frustrate a fighter like Benavidez. But interesting that he's going with Ramirez.
Yeah, I mean, think about it though. I understand avoiding Bivol right this second because if you're gonna be at light heavy, you wanna fight some guys that are gonna prepare you for what you're gonna deal with against a Bivol. Yarde is not that. He needs a box. Gavazic might have been a good fight for to prepare for Bivol. Like he already beat him though, but I just think he needs a couple more fights before Bivol because of what Bivol can do. Because when you think about Bivol's style, Bivol can go easily 4 or 5 rounds flat and you don't score, or you can score, but you don't win those rounds. So he can wash you 4 or 5 rounds easy against anybody, right? Because of the fact that he can take those angles away from you. He can move. He got a good jab. Like you said, he got a herky-jerky style. He fights in and out. He, takes half step backs, counters off that. So it's like every step that he makes is a trap. So he can be very difficult to figure out. And by the time you figure him out, if you haven't won or dominated in the beginning of the fight, by the time you figure him out, you down 4 or 5 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Now you figured him out, but you're desperate and you got to fight a different style when you're down. You can't just pick your shots. You can't pick and choose. You have to bring the fight to a guy, especially when you get past that 6th round and you're down at least 4-2. You can't go into the championship rounds playing. Now you got to come forward. And then he's even more dangerous now. You know what I mean? So I think that fight is tilted in Bivol's favor due to what I think he'll be able to do in the early rounds against a Benavidez. So, I mean, I'm not against Benavidez fighting someone other than Bivol next, but I just don't think it should be a cruiserweight. That's all. You know what I mean? But that's where I'm at with it, bro. But for everybody who jumped on, like I said, we've been on for almost an hour. I don't think we got anything else to cover. But for everybody who jumped on, hold on a second. We got one more. Yeah, no, okay, got it. But yeah, for everybody else who jumped on, I thought somebody else had a question though. My bad. But everybody who jumped on, I appreciate it. You know what I mean? I know we haven't been on for about a week or so. Just so you guys know, in the business world, the business end of what I'm doing, there's a new facility I grabbed. So putting that together, and that's why I've been away. But you guys will see a lot more Collier Knows Boxing. We're going to get into the technical aspect of the game too, because as I said, I do everything in this game. I'm not just a podcaster or an analyst, right? I sit and I train guys, and I'll give you guys some footage on that. I teach every aspect of the game, from how to throw your punches, and where to put your feet, and how to prepare your body for the type of punishment that it's going to have to endure to be good at this, right? So I'll show you guys that as well. We'll go through the process and step by step. And you guys will get, I guess, a glimpse into the world of boxing and the mind of a boxing coach or a fighter, because I'll introduce you to those guys as well. But appreciate y'all jumping on. Talk to y'all soon, and we out of here. Peace.